Everyone, and welcome to Joyous Everyday Living. I'm Beth Amine, and I'm so happy to be here with you, Patti, Teel, and the Hub for Humanity for our second episode. I am really excited about this show because as I went through my week last week, so many conversations that I heard from people around me and from you were just gave me so much inspiration for the talks, and that they contain this recurring themes that seem to be important to everyone. And really, one of them that keeps coming up is self-love, self-care, and really the relationship, the good, wonderful, loving, pure, important relationship to the self. And that is a component of really the basis of joyous living. So that is going to be interwoven in our talks as we learn to embody that. The topic for today, or the basic theme, is going to be creative process. And that really is how to keep freshness and newness in your life. And the radio show is really loosely based on my book, Joyous Everyday Living. But this chapter that we're going to focus on a bit today is called Create. And I'll read a little bit of that for you a little bit later in the show. So last week, if you were here, we chose a word for the year that provided us a direction. So this is kind of like a focus or an intention. And if you didn't do that, if you weren't listening to our show last week, no worries. This is often such an easy, intuitive process to find your word. And you just you go in within, and yourself will usually just go like, yeah, this year I'd really like blah. And it's not like a resolution or a goal. That's kind of more forced. This is really more like a guiding light for you. I know that I constantly refer back to mine when I get a little bit like lost or it's all gooey in terms of my focus. So mine for the year was unlimited, because I know towards the end of the year I processed a lot of my limitations that I had been carrying with me for so long. And so now my word is unlimited, and I think about that whenever I get a little bit stuck. And I have a subword, another kind of supporting word, which is called relaxed, because when I'm relaxed, I am not experiencing my blockages. I'm just kind of letting it free flow. So I know Patti had the word courageous or fearless. She picked her word. And it really is also a good beacon for all the growth that we're going through this year, and, you know, the kind of the new horizons and the new possibilities, which are so exciting and really a part of how you maintain a fully joyously alive life. So having said that, either at the end of the show or if it comes to you during the show, just write down your word for the year, because we'll be referring back to that. And the other thing that we talked about last week was writing a new story. So I spoke about how I'd had sort of a health thing and took some time off, and really looked at a lot of the things that I felt were I wasn't allowing myself to live my life fully with. And then after that process of just identifying, I wrote a new story. And this is one of your most important creations, really. And it has to do with how you would like your life to look in your imagination. And as I thought about it more this week, I realized the importance of having a dream. It is so important to have a dream, because that is really a framework for your personal growth to happen. And I know in myself, I've got my dream, and I'm always having to expand internally to catch up with my very own dream. And that is, we live in a world of change, and it's always changing. And we also live in a universe that's constantly expanding. And so when we are linked to that, when we are comfortable with this flow and this change and all the the innate expansion in the universe, we really have a certain harmony with life that is really, really important. So you probably heard that that saying that the journey is more important than the destination. And it really is true. It sounds kind of, repeated, but it is. It's more like this happy, fluid moment of nows is really what creates a vibrant life more than oh, I'm going to get to that destination or that goal. So I found that this is a universal practice, and we are in a true state of aliveness when we do expand that way. So, okay, so we had our word and our dream, and now this brings me to the topic of creative process, or really your relationship or our relationship to the unknown as life unfolds. So since life is always flowing, that this comfort with the fluidity of circumstances or change in our life is really important, especially when you have your dream as as your again your beacon of how you're going to unfold your life. And Patti, you're looking very good. I'm sorry. my cohort is like making me laugh there. My dear Patti. So speaking of which, for my personal experience of growth this week, and how like I had to go like, oh, all these changes. I think I'm not that comfortable, but I'm really glad I'm doing it. It's just even to have this radio show. Patti and I've been talking about it for absolutely years, and it was a very long, involved process of clearing the past of limitations, right? And what we thought we could do, and then just taking it a step at a time. And it can be such a circuitous route, and you have to learn this or that along the way, and you don't know what's relevant and why these things are happening, but you're just flowing along because you have this dream. We dreamed of a talk show. So I didn't know that me giving classes to these elders and really being on the pulse of how America is aging and what everyone is feeling would really lend to me writing this book and to having this show. I really had no clue. Someone just asked me to give movement and self-expression classes to our seniors, and there I was in there with people with Alzheimer's and dementia, and seeing that they really needed to have a place to express their inner natures and who they were. And that all fed back into this whole knowledge about creative process. And I know Patti had to go through so much too of doing radio shows and learning a lot of technology, and also just all about how to put on retreats and engage people, and all that circuitous route just got thrown into our dream. Okay, 10 years later, we're having a radio show. So you really want to have, it's the importance of that. And again, I want to emphasize it's not like a goal, like, okay, I'm going to get there. It's like, oh, this is what I'd like my life to look like, have fun in my greatest imagination. And then it can happen. And so, and you expand in sync with that. And that is a crucial component of deep joy in your life. Really, you can't stay the same, life doesn't. So, and you want to be comfortable with that. So I do want to say that I'm not always, and I know Patti isn't, I'm not always like, oh, I'm so happy. This is such a, I'm so uncomfortable that everything's changing. I'm not really like that. I don't want to say that, but I do kind of go like, yeah, okay, I'm on the road somewhere and something cool is happening because I'm on the move. So, and that's one of the beauties of being familiar with creative process, is that you do know that there's going to be some opening that's going to happen. I had a girlfriend just tell me the other day that she takes a lot of dance classes, but she was really like kind of freaked out about learning a choreography. So, they took it a step at a time. They learned a couple of steps, and then they learned a few more, and then they put those together, and then they practiced that 100 times over and over. And at the end of this long process that was kind of arduous because she didn't know and she couldn't remember and all that, at the end of this long process, she learned this choreography, and it was embodied in her, and she could do it over and over again. And she took that sequence or that process and took the ultimate fluidity that she got and put it into some of her other work. She does meditation sessions, and so she was able to apply that to something else, and that gave her more expansion. So that's why we want to keep you want to keep having new things come to you. So that's why you're constantly throwing off and moving into a new place. So ultimately, it's fluidity with change. And here's the thing: you enjoy where you are, but you're still moving to the next place. So, and you remember, I'm going to read from you a little bit from my book on the chapter called Create, which is all about this creative process of being uncomfortable with the unknown and being fluid with it and trying new things, which we're going to, after I do a little reading, we'll talk about that now, because that's going to be your third little, your third little, I can't call it homework really. It's really your third pleasant little creation for your own pleasure and the happiness of your own everyday life when you wake up, and in your own little time together. First one, create your word for the year. It's your guiding light. And you can create two if you want. I did. Second, when you identify some of the things in that have had you stuck, because your word may bring that up. If I'm saying my word's unlimited, then that means that my limitations, I might see them like, oh yeah, I was afraid of that. I might write that down, but not spend too much time that, but really really create your story. Like, what would the life of my dreams look like? And don't edit it. Don't go, oh, I can't. No, I don't think so. No. This is imagination. Just write it down and edit it, and then see how your life shifts around that. I'll tell you. And the third thing we're going to do after I read is that we're going to figure out, everybody, me too, and you too, Patti, and everybody, what can we do that's brand new this week? I have an idea for me. Okay, I'm going to tell you my idea, and then I'll read to you. Because I had this sort of month and a half off. I told you a number of times. I had a little glitch in my high energy lifestyle to show me that I really needed some reflective time and some downtime, and to be comfortable with that, of not the constant, to be comfortable with the balance of quiet and the balance of reflection and the balance of just the joy of, how lovely the moment, I'm alive. It's so delicious. So I didn't really socialize for like a month and a half, really a long time. And I'm kind of feeling that I need to step back into having more social interaction, because every time I do, it's so stimulating. It's so unbelievable. I mean, the conversations I have go right into the show and go right into the expansion of my own happiness. When I hear what's on people's mind and what they're doing. I mean, so I'm going to socialize more. And I figured that what I'm going to do, my little thing for this week, because I have to write a lot with what's going on now for me, for my shows and all kinds of stuff, and my new book, which is coming up. I won't tell you about that just now, maybe later, but I'm going to get my laptop, and I'm actually going to go once out to a coffee shop, even though I don't drink much coffee. I'll get some tea or something. And then the second is I'm going to go to my athletic club, which is really full of wonderful people. And I'm going to do some of my writing there. So I get out of my comfort zone and my little house, my little home with my slippers and all that. And I actually get out. And when I did that this last week, I mean, phenomenal things just happen. A friend of mine who actually writes a column in a local paper, said, Beth, I want to write an article. I want to write an article on your show, on Hub for Humanity, on all the trainings that you're doing for Joyous Movement. And it just wouldn't happen if I hadn't have said, okay, you're going to do something new. You're going to take yourself out of the house. You've been there for, doing this healing process for a month and a half. And then, things start to happen. So I want to encourage you. It can be anything, absolutely anything. It can be a new recipe for your pressure cooker pot that you haven't ever tried before. It can be snowboarding. You've got to have some idea, something that you've always wanted to do. Maybe learn a new language. Maybe take a salsa class. Maybe join a book club. Read a new book. It could be, anything. If you slow down for a minute, you're going to get a list. I'm telling you. Your inner self is always there for you. It always wants to tell you stuff. It's going to want to tell you your word for the year. It's going to want to tell you your list of things to do. It's going to want to tell you what your ultimate dream is. So it's just always right there for you. So that's, you want to running it all the way around to when I started the talk. It's about that theme of self-love that's all pervasive everywhere. What do you do nice for yourself? What is that ultimate relationship of love with yourself? So there we have that. So that's your third thing. 1, 2, 3, word story, something new for the week. And I'm just going to read to you a little bit. I think that we have time for that, Patti, do we? A little bit?
Yeah.
Okay, great. I can see her, but you can't right at the moment. So I'm going to just read a little bit from the book, and then we'll have our little closing. So I chose every chapter in the book has got my thoughts on it, on the subject. Our subjects create, and my tagline is live daily on the edge of your own growth. How about that? Yow. That even shocks me that I said that. It's like, whoa. That's very expansive. So it's right there in the book. Chapter is called Create, and it's about our favorable relationship to the unknown, which is crucial to happiness because we live in a world of infinite possibilities, and the ability to access them is one of the great gifts of being human. So that's part of my introduction. I then go to stories, other people's stories about their creative process and what's it given them to their life. And my third section, before you create your own practices, is called Science. And that's the one I want to read from to you today. Okay, so here it's called The Science Around Creativity. Creative activities and thinking are restorative. Participating in them increases well-being by replacing negative emotions and conditions with positive ones. We become trained in the qualities of flow and spontaneity. There is true power in the personal decision-making that they require. On a spiritual level, life is drawn through us. These uplifted states also have a profound effect on our health and produce real physical changes in our bodies. The practice connections develop our own authority to heal ourselves. And that's, I'm throwing this in, that's really big. We take responsibility. We get to know how to take responsibility for our own health and well-being. Activities such as writing can actually impact our cells and improve the immune system. A creative project is an opportunity to ignore incoming signals of media and information that continuously bombards us, and we can generate our very own authentic outward signals. Benefits come just because it feels so good. Yes, feeling good. Remember, that's our primary joyous theme too. So here's some science part that I researched this. For brain health, the axiom is use it or lose it. And I know many of you, okay, I'm throwing this in again, are concerned about your cognitive health. And I said, I am out there in the streets. I always have been. I'm out there deep in the community. And I see what's going on, and that many are concerned about cognitive health. And it's really so simple to maintain. And so Here we go. The axiom is use it or lose it. The brain is very malleable and has a great capacity to change. Having many neural pathways to information is much more beneficial than having one well-worn one. A greater amount of neural synapses or connections create greater possibilities for accessing information. So if you're taking a new route to work, if you're trying a new recipe, if you're doing a new dance step, if you're learning a new app or computer program, you're making new grooves in your brain. And this is all creating enormous cognitive aliveness because your brain's got different paths. It's not like, oh, I can only go to this one, and if anything happens to this one, I'm like out of luck, right? So, okay, great amount. With only one neural pathway connecting to stored information, we can become blocked. Some memory loss can be a natural process, especially if the mind is not kept active. But participating in mentally engaging activities produces more neural paths. The brain constantly rewires itself depending on use, and more is better. But if it isn't used, it won't make any more. Keep the paths active and create new ones. The opposite of this is taking the same old well-worn mind path over and over again with habitual patterns of thinking and living our lives. More approaches allow more fluidity and unique expression. And guess what? When you have your own unique expression, I see this every single day, your own unique expression set free is the ultimate path to deep happiness. So there you have it. And blah, blah, blah. I could go on. It's very interesting, if I do say so myself, but I'm not going to do any more. So this week, explore what's going to take you on your brand new adventure. And remember, I'm there with you. Patti is there with you. We are both doing this. We're all in this beautiful lab together. And I so look forward to hearing from you. We're going to get our interactive segment and abilities honed up in the next few weeks. And so we're all a tribe here. We're all a team, and we are really doing this thing together. So I want you to just let you know, if you do want the book, you can get it at www.joyouseverydayliving.com. You can also order it on Amazon. But if you do go to my website, you can sign up for my mailing list, and then we can keep in touch, and I can send you fun things. So you can go to that site, www.joyousliving.com. You can email me, joyouseverydayliving.com. Yes. And you can email me if you want to get a hold of me at joyousmovement@gmail.com. We're all joyous everything. Joyous Movement, joyousmovement@gmail.com. So stay tuned now for Unplugged with Beth and Patti. Keep it fresh, and we're going to talk again next week. Bye. See you in a minute for Unplugged. Hey, Patti. So happy to be able to talk with you every week. This is so much fun.
And I find it very relaxing listening to what you have to say, and then I'm thinking of all the things that I want to say to you and writing down little notes for myself. It's really going to be, besides for hopefully interesting to other people, it's interesting for me, and I really enjoy it.
Oh, yeah, I hope so. I hope everyone does find it interesting. So, and I mean, this is our dream, and I talked about a dream, the importance of a dream for growth and all. So tell me what some of the notes you took down, or what did you find out for yourself this week, or what?
So you started out talking about self-love, and what came to me, yes, I know it's very, very important, and I think I need to work on it a little bit, but I think it's important that we don't feel it necessary to get it from others. I know sometimes families can be a little disappointing. We feel like maybe we're not appreciated, and like sometimes with my family, I do know they love me. There's no doubt about that, but sometimes I feel a little bit more needed than loved. And so I think it's important in my case, and maybe for some other moms and grandmas out there, to not have it be, totally vital to get that love from others. We can give it to ourselves. What do you have to say about that, Beth?
Oh, yeah. Well, that is a brilliant point, because that's something we all, every single one of us, you know, I'm going to say suffers from, but we all are looking to external sources, you know, as we know. And that's why what we're talking about is the self-generative love, because it's your relationship to yourself. And the way that you generate that love is by taking the time to see what would make you happy. Whoa, what's my question that I ask, like, you know, what do I want? And what would my dream look like aside from all the external circumstances? So you really hit on that. It's about self-generating. It's about living it in this sphere.
Right.
So,
And then, I don't know if this segues into this, but another thing, my word was fearless or courageous. If there was, I'll have to think about that during this next week. But one of the things also, I really have to unclutter and get organized, because even today I have all sorts of equipment. I've been recording for years, but it was like, where are my lights? I remember loaning them to my son, and perhaps he has them in his truck, and I looked in the garage, which was so scary. I just got even more overwhelmed looking in the garage. Like, oh my God. And, you know, I don't know, but I need to get more organized, because it gives me this uneasy feeling when there's clutter everywhere. And I know, oh my gosh, I haven't gone through those papers, and, you know, tax season's coming up. I wonder where I've placed my receipts. And it can be a little overwhelming when life gets out of control that way.
oh my gosh, that is also such a crucial point, because you can't really move to a new space either in your mind or in your life, and your life is a embodiment of your internal life. You hear that so much, and that's, you know, I talk about that a lot in the book too, about getting uncluttered and releasing the past. If you have so much of the past around you, and you can't even access what you need in order to have a really clear and fluid present. Like, I get it. I'm telling you, this is like crazy, but this morning I woke up and I'm supposed to get ready for the show and, you know, put my notes together and stuff. I went in my closet, and I, like a crazy person, I threw every single shoe out. They're all over the room now. They're like everywhere. I was like, I can't find my shoes. I can't live like this anymore. Yeah. Just so impacted. I mean, I love clothes, and I love costuming. I'm always dressing up. And I was so distressed about the state of my closet, because I don't know what I have, and I can't access it. And so, you know, evidently my inner self thinks it's really important, evidently more important than, you know, figuring out what I was going to say today. So,
well, you were clear. That's important, isn't it? To make room
for really important.
Yes, it is. But then another point is, sometimes I just feel like my to-do list gets so very long, and I think I need to really prioritize, but at the same time, I can't just keep putting off the garage and putting off the garage and putting off the papers, because it's not doesn't seem like it's my most urgent thing, but it's weighing up on me. So I think somehow it's important to, I don't know how we fit it all in, but prioritize somehow. These are the most important things that I have to get done towards my goal, but these are secondary things that are also important. So, what
would be the first thing that would give you relief of all the cluttered areas that you would feel best at? Anything?
Like which room?
Yeah, so, like.
You know, papers are a little bit of a nemesis for me, because even though, you know, we possibly are moving into a paperless society, it seems for me, because I always think that there's going to be something I'm going to get rid of that is very, very important. And then I set something in an important space, but I can't remember. I know I put that somewhere special, but where was that? So I really feel like I just need to make an overhaul of everything, and maybe I need to set aside certain time of the day, and that's my hour to do that, and just kind of pick away at it, because, you know, to do it all at once is too overwhelming, and that's
it's way too overwhelming. Yeah. I found that I do it in weird times, Patti, kind of, if I get the inspiration often, and I've learned that it isn't procrastination. I think it is sometimes, like I'm supposed to do, or denial or something. I'm supposed to do something, and I have an urge to today this week I got really upset with I'm getting all my papers out for my taxes, and I
Right.
got really upset that I couldn't find um, one of my gazebo reorder things for outside, which is all in the same file. So I just went in there and I threw out so many papers, but I only did as much as I felt the inspiration to do, like, and I only got so far, but I threw out scads of paper. So sometimes if it hits you in a weird moment, like, I don't want to do that I'm supposed to do, but I'm going to do that. And I'm going to go through that many papers. It's kind of nonlinear, but it got me through part of it. Although maybe your thing of putting an hour a week, like I'm going to do scheduling it in might work, right?
Yeah, I think that's
because
what
you have a more scheduled life than I do, maybe.
I do. Yeah, I have certain hours I have to be here or there. So yeah, that's
Yeah.
maybe. But I also can go with it when I do get the strong urge. But I think little pieces at
Which
a time.
what?
I'm going to make this corner. I'm going to go through this corner. These two boxes. I think that would be a way to chip away at it, because I have this big fear. Not that I think I'm going to die this year, Beth, but I have this big fear that my storage units, my kids are going to inherit them, and they're going to like open the storage unit and go, I have two of them. Oh my God, what was wrong with mom? And why did she have this? And I think my mother was a little more organized than me. I'm a Virgo gone awry, because we're supposed to be very organized. What happened? The stars were definitely out of alignment. But she has one little box of my schoolwork, which she gave to me, or kids' paperwork, but it's really a small, manageable little box. Of course, I don't know where it is right now, but it might be either in my garage or my storage unit. I mean, my kids, I have like these huge tubs of their work. They're not going to want that. So why do I have this need? I mean, someday I may look at my son's, little phonetic writing when he was 5, 6 years old, telling me how much he loves me, and it will be very sweet, but I don't know if I'll ever dig out that paper and read it. So it's a little over sentimentalizing of some sort, even though I'm not looking at it. I don't know. I guess I have a problem.
No, you don't say that. Don't say that at all. Oh, no, you don't. We're all like that. I don't want to leave my stuff for my kids either. But you've had a very big life. I've had a very big, long life. I've done millions of projects. I mean, your mom in Nebraska may not have had like quite as massive as, she didn't sign with Disney, whatever it took to get there. So, never ever like.
But I do want to make this year kind of be, with my fearless word and now the organized word, I want it to be a little bit like a bucket list year. So all the things that have been gnawing away at me, whether it's a storage, I want it so that if I'm not trying to pass over anytime soon, but if it would happen, I feel like, okay, I was complete with where I was. I really feel.
Exactly. And, you may have to call a family meeting. I don't know if that's possible, but they could help you with the garage. And I know I had to ask my daughter, I said, I'm going to get rid of everything. So you better tell me if this is important to you. Do you want all my jewelry, all these jewelry supplies, or I'm going to donate them to some children's thing? She said, Mom, I want those. Do you want all these photos of these 3,000 photos of your childhood? Yeah, Mom, I want them. Okay, well, I'm taking them to Costco. They're going to get digitized. Pick the photos you want to keep in real life, and then, they're out
so you've
here.
done
And
all this is good.
Yeah, like, if I'm at a point where I can't take it anymore. And she says, Mom, I said, I'm giving away all my artwork, because I had a long, endless career as a painter. I said, no, Mom, I want these paintings. And I said, okay, you're going to have to put them in the house. They're big. But you want those, these paintings, and these shrines. She said, okay. So she's got the legacy that she wants. And I have permission to just like get rid of it. Like I go, Ryan, I adore you. This is do you want to share this with your children? If you don't, I don't know. You'll have to get rid of it, or I'm going to get rid of it.
And it's not very sentimental. And so probably I'll have to get rid of. Yeah. So anyway,
maybe
so fascinating, Beth. You can, since you are a step ahead of me on this, I appreciate these guideposts. That sounds really
I
good.
don't know about that, Patty, but it's
Yeah.
total torture for everyone, especially it is at this time of our lives when we've accumulated so much, and then
Yeah.
we really don't. We want to downsize.
Yeah.
Everybody in this demographic is not accumulating. They're
Mm-hmm.
trying to like, I've had enough. I've good.
Yeah.
So you're not alone. We are all here. I mean,
And I've even had a house burned down, and I still accumulated so much stuff. So Lord
I
knows, I think
know.
my,
Sometimes they say you could hire a helper if it's too
mhm.
hard.
Yeah.
And if that's not possible, I don't know. But it's not, you are so not alone. I'm telling
Okay.
you.
All right. Good. A step at a time. And then, so many things that you talked about today really resonated with me.
What?
And I have so many things, Beth. We'll probably run out of time. But, the discomfort that we sometimes feel, or we know we're not where we want to be. But for me, that's the motivation to get where I want to be. And so,
Hmm.
even though some things may not be pleasant at the time, maybe we're not making the money we want to make, or, it could be so many things, not living where we want to live. But it's as as our one of the people that we love to listen to, Abraham Hicks, always says, when you have what you don't want, that is your momentum to know what you do want. So don't despair. This is a great innovator.
That's right. That's right. It's a guidepost.
Mm-hmm.
But you just keep refocusing on your dream.
Yeah. And when your to-do list just seems just so massively long, which mine
Yeah.
does every day, I do think it's important to priorities like these three things, because some of mine, I do take a real pleasure in checking things off my list.
Hmm.
Sometimes it wasn't even on my list, and when I do it, I write it just so I can have the fun of checking it off. So I
Uh-huh.
find that really, really fun. But I think better is, you know, spend a little quiet time for me in the morning, or even there have been studies like if you make your to-do list the night before, that you sleep a lot better and you don't have worries nearly as much. But take a few minutes to say, well, if nothing else gets done, these are the three must-dos that I have to get done. And I think that's very helpful.
I think that's so helpful. And I actually heard this time management expert say that. Said you're going to make yourself nuts if you do any more than three things a day. So I think you really intuited something there, Patti, that's right on target. And then the other thing that, I mean, if we're talking Esther Abraham Hicks, they say you never get it done, right? And I realize that there's always the next to-do list and the next to-do list. It's all about the never-ending process. So, you might as well enjoy it and not feel that insane burden. And I think you're absolutely right with you've been talking about prioritizing a lot, like prioritizing where you're going to get rid of stuff, and prioritizing what's important in your stuff, and prioritizing in your time. And that's because you're so busy, and you have so many variables and
Yeah,
segments to life.
but most
So
people do have a lot going on, I do think.
yeah, but it is important. And
Mhm.
what else is important that you prioritize
Yeah.
in?
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Our show
time for
is
time for
definitely.
rest, time for
Oh
time
yeah.
for nothing.
Right.
5 minutes.
When you mentioned that self-care too, I
Yeah.
think, and doing something new during the week, I was trying to think, what should I do? What do I love to do? I haven't gotten my guitar out for a very long time and just sang some
Aw.
songs. So that was one thing that
Aw.
came to mind. And dancing, I'm not near as skilled as Beth. She is an amazing dancer, but I do love to dance, and it just brings me such joy. Somehow I like to be in a class rather than, I like to dance around the house, but there's something about the energy of being, with other people. So maybe I can
Hmm.
find
There
some time.
is.
Again, it's about prioritizing, because I need to figure out maybe a certain time that I can fit that into my life,
Hmm.
on a regular basis in a routine, so it doesn't fall by the wayside like so many other things like my garage has. And, Julia Cameron, who wrote, was it The Artist Way or The Creative Way? I can't recall, but she's also on Hub for Humanity.
Oh, is she?
Go there.
Awesome.
I've done a few interviews with her, and one of the things she said, similar to what you're saying, is every week make a date with yourself. Nobody else is invited, but it's a date with yourself, kind of like you said. And, whether it be go for a hike. I live near Sedona, so there's a lot of beautiful places to hike, like Santa
Mm.
Barbara, where you are and where I used
Mm.
to. But make a date and make that a priority. It's really important to nurture yourself and do something that you're going to love. And I think sometimes I get the idea, oh my gosh, I have too much to do. I can't go do that. But it does something to your heart and soul and energy where you're more likely to have more good things happen if you do take that time for yourself than if you sat and made yourself do your grind on the computer or wherever. So it's really, really important.
It is, because life is delicious and you don't want it to pass you by with your endless list that is never ending. And when you're hooked to the source of life, which you do when you are taking those moments of inspiration for yourself, it seeps into every other area. So it's actually the top priority.
The top
Guess
priority.
what? I mean, that is like the most reverse concept. Like,
Wow.
me is the top of it all, taking care of me. I know, it's like,
Like
it's so
shocked.
opposite for women in our culture and from everybody. I'm not
Right.
excluding
Right.
and men too.
Okay. So when we get sometime today, I'm going to make a little list with me at the top and then
Me first.
me
I'm number
first.
one. Yeah.
Reverse pyramid with me at the top. Yeah. And all the other things. Sounds really
Top of
good.
your food chain.
Yeah, I'm the top of the food chain. I love that. Yeah, and then this is going to be, I think, a whole nother show, but it's so easy to have regrets,
Uh-huh.
and I don't want to dwell there, and I'm pretty good at not woulda, coulda, shoulda, but some people spend too much time there, and it becomes part of their story.
Yeah.
It just kind of reinforces that, and it's not healthy.
Did something come up for you, you mean, Patti?
Well, it's something that you said. Now, what did you say that brought that up? I have to look back at my notes. So, oh, I guess it's the story. So, a lot of people's stories are the bad things that happen to them.
Yeah.
That
And
is their story, and that's what you hear the most, whether it was some health crisis that they went through where they just keep
yeah.
retelling it and retelling, or a financial story about when things were so great and all the bad things that happened, whether they were
Yeah.
unlucky or not, that caused them to lose it. But it's fine to acknowledge that. I mean, it happened, but if it becomes your entire story, you're not doing yourself any favors.
Get over it. Let it go. It's boring. Sorry. I must be getting low blood sugar. I can tell my little.
The real Beth is no.
I should have a
That's what I
snack.
love so much about her. She's very, very honest.
Well, no, it's just that, the past is gone. I mean, here we are. This is precious. This is so precious.
And
I'm like alive in this thing. It's like,
and usually, as you said, there is some sort of silver lining, even though it wasn't fun to go through at the time. But you usually, if you take the time to think about it, you gain something, whether it's wisdom or more compassion for others, or it was an adventure. There's usually something that you got out of it.
It's usually something. That's why I call it creative process. And when I taught the many thousands of children, as well as everybody else, art processes, I would tell them, guess what, kids? There's no mistakes in art. They go like, what do you mean? A reality where there's no mistakes? No, really. And life, you could consider life that way. That's why you don't want to have regrets or look back into the past, because it all led to the next place of becoming who you are. And in art, you go like, oh, okay, that happened. And now I'm going to make this decision based on that. And I can take that out and I can add to it. And so it's the mistakes that create the depth of the beauty of the piece of art, or what you're calling mistakes. It's your process. I did that step. I did that step. I did that step. So it's very liberating for children, and it should be very liberating for us too.
Which goes to the fluidity with change.
Yeah,
right?
Exactly. Yeah. So,
well, Beth, we better wind this up because you have another session to do about joyous longevity, which is also very fascinating. But thank you for letting me join you on Beth and Patti Unplugged. We are the twins.
Yes, we're twins. You can see. If I stood up, you'd know even better. She's only about a foot taller, so
that's all.
We look exactly alike.
Bye, Beth.
Bye, Patti.
Until next week.
Till next week. And thank you for joining us.
Oh, you're welcome. And I'll look forward to listening to Joyous Longevity.
Yeah. Hello, everyone. I'm Beth Amine, and welcome to Joyous Longevity. It's our fun segment about tips and hints and things for you to maintain maximum aliveness. And I'm here with my dear friend Patti Teel and Hub for Humanity. So we're at the Young at Heart show today, and I have a topic for you. Last week we spoke about movement and physical movement and how crucial that is to your well-being. Even if you're seated, if you're in a wheelchair, if you can't get up, just even lifting your arms and breathing, doing a little leg movement to your favorite song, whatever you do, how absolutely crucial that is to health and your well-being on every level, really not just physical. It's not just about air and, oxygenation, circulation, joints, although it's so beneficial for that. It actually is liberation of your spirit or your inner life. So, and to music, it's a done deal. That is human nature for that to be a beautiful release. So we talked about movement, physical movement last week, but this week we're going to talk about the movement internally, or the freshness or aspect of aliveness that comes from doing something new every week. So, this is the daily or weekly jumping into a fresh possibility for your life. So it can be anything. You can choose anything, but it's very important to keep your well, it's on many levels. It's neural pathways. It's your brain that needs to be kept fresh, and new pathways so that your cognitive functioning stays fresh. It's also really something that contributes to very, very deep joy. And that's because you're experiencing life. You're constantly experiencing life, and you're really mirroring the basic nature of life, which is change and growth and expansion, in sync with the universe. That's really the fabric of life. And when you're not separate from that, but when you're in the flow of that, you feel this vital aliveness. So one of those things that you can do, and this is your little exercise for the week. Last week's exercise was moving your arms and moving your legs to your favorite song. This week's exercise is picking one thing, or you can pick up a gazillion of them. You can make a long list. One thing that will make you feel like you're doing something new, something maybe you've always wanted to do. And don't say you can't, because you absolutely can. It can be anything. Could be learning a few sentences in Spanish so you can communicate better with somebody. It can be practicing your smile on all the servers that come in and seeing their response. It can be going to a book club. It can be having trying a new spice. It can be, if you're really active, maybe you have wanted to go snowboarding all your life, and you get your children to take you on a trip snowboarding or something. So I want you to pick one new thing that would expand your creativity and your sense of aliveness, and it would really make you excited to think about it. And I know you all have one, and I would even encourage you to make a list, and so you could do at least one every week. Maybe it's just walking in a different neighborhood, or if you take a weekly walk or something like that. So there's something that you haven't tried that you would like. And I want you to know that science has proven that improvisation and trying new things adds new neural pathways, which greatly, greatly improve your ability to stay cognitively healthy throughout your life. And besides that, what's more important is that it's just fun. And fun, in my humble estimation, is the name of the game. So these creative activities and all this thinking, they're restorative. They're just simply restorative. And that's how you get this rejuvenation that we're talking about. So I did want to tell you that when I teach children art and art processes, I tell them there are no mistakes in art. And they're so astounded by that. You mean, really? I can't do it wrong? Or they go, really? I can't do it wrong? I have, they just can't believe there's a reality that there for them, or they can't do it wrong. And you know what? They can't, because one thing leads to another. So if you're going to try a new recipe and it just doesn't work out to your liking, you're going to add a little more of this next time take a little bit more of that out. There was no mistake. It was all like, oh, I'm in this process of expansion and growth, and I'm going to get something that I love. So it's all about taking that journey, and I really, really want to encourage you to do that every week, and how about every day? I tell you, it'll make a difference, and I want to hear about that from you.
Even
So,
driving your way to work, I bet.
yeah, exactly. Yay, Patti. Absolutely. So if you want to go, if you'd like to buy my book that has all these suggestions in depth, you can go to www.joyouseverydayliving.com. You can sign up for my newsletter there. I'm really looking forward to staying in total touch with you. I want to find out from you what new wonderful thing you did this week. And you know what? We're going to share it with other people, and it's really going to inspire other people. And you can be like a big club of wonderful, joyous, longevity living people who are helping each other to really enjoy every minute of this fabulous experience of being alive and on our beautiful planet. So with that, what new thing will you try with this week? And I'll talk to you soon. I'm Beth Amine with my co-host Patti Teel, Hub for Humanity, shows Joyous Longevity, and I am so pleased to be on this journey with you. Okay,
And
talk to you next week.
should we
Bye.
have, and Beth, should we have them write to you at joyousmovement@gmail.com with the new
Yes,
thing that
yes,
they tried?
yes, yes. JOYOUSMOVEMENT at gmail.com. You can write to me personally, sign up for my newsletter, and buy the book at joyouseverydayliving.com.
And Beth is now going to be on the Young at Heart show every week, so don't miss it. Bye,
Young at
Beth.
Heart. Bye.